Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasy, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we're stepping into 3 standalone worlds. Right now, we're diving into a dark academia mystery filled with obsession, ambition, and just a little bit of murder. That's right. Grab your scripts and memorize your alibis. We're headed to Dellecher Classic Conservatory.
7 actors, 1 stage, and absolutely no sense of boundaries between fiction and reality, just like this podcast. Welcome to a world of rivalries, rehearsals, and the kind of ambition that doesn't just crave the spotlight, it kills for it.
In this episode, we'll be discussing If We Were Villains, Act 2, where the masks are slipping, the fight scenes draw actual blood, and the consequences have entered stage left.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes all 3 standalone novels we'll be covering this season and any fan discussions we find online. We're also avid fans of the Moss universe and might accidentally let spoilers slip for their popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance. Like the books, this podcast is rated R, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, Facebook, and YouTube. And if you want some bonus content and behind-the-scenes chaos, join our growing community on Patreon.
All right. Well, we open up Act 2 with another prologue. This time, we're back in the real world, in the present tense, and look who it is. Philippa has come to pick up Oliver now that he's finally getting out of jail, prison, and I thought of what you guys talked about last week where you were like, who else is anyone alive? Are people free? Like, is it just Oliver in prison? Like, we don't have any information, but we start off the prologue of Act 2 with a little bit of information. So we know finally that Philippa is free and is the only one that's been visiting him.
Which really sucks.
Yeah, it's pretty shitty, I think.
So, okay, you said it in a way that Philippa is free. Did I miss something where others got arrested as well and jailed and just served a shorter sentence?
Nothing has been said or confirmed at this point, but we do know that he briefly asks about Meredith. I think Philippa says something like she's certainly not struggling because her family is wealthy, so she's doing fine. Alexander is in New York, doing this weird immersive theater stuff. But we didn't get anything on James. And until up at this point, we don't hear anything about Richard, though we know what happens at the end of the act.
Yeah.
We also find out that she is living and dating someone named Milo, who I had to wonder, did you guys put together who Milo is?
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't even give Milo a second thought. Sorry.
I didn't either. So I didn't either until I was like near the end of the book the first time I read it. So I also didn't think anything of it. But now that I've already read it the one time, I've already picked it out. So Christy, do you want to tell her?
How do you Caramilo? Oh, Camilo.
Camilo.
Oh. Okay. That makes more sense because I wondered why they were going back to the school to have this talk.
Well, it's not really clear why he has this discussion with Colborne.
Mm-hmm.
Colborne.
Yeah. It's not really clear why he wants to do it at Dellecher, but Philippa agrees to take him there, and she picks him up from prison and gives him a change of clothes. She remarks that he's bigger than he used to be, like more muscly, he says, because he's been like working out. He said it was like to survive.
He's like, what else am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
Read?
I think we're supposed to get this idea that Oliver is, in the past, Oliver was like skinny, you know, like young, skinny, lean.
Forgettable.
Sort of.
That's how they describe him, is forgettable, but he blends into the background and yeah.
He's not intimidating.
He is, but he to me, the way that I read it was that he took the fall for whatever happened and that nobody else was jailed for it. And it sounds like Colburn, maybe he thought the wrong person was convicted and that's why he wants the story. But that's what it sounded like to me, is that he was the only one that, had any jail time.
I do think that's what's implied here. Yeah. So she's taking him to Dellecher. He sticks his head out of the window like a dog because he's so happy to be free. And he's thinking to himself that upon reflection, Dellecher was this like cult that he was a part of, this weird religion that he and his 6 friends had agreed to be in. And he didn't really realize it until now. What did you guys think about that?
Yeah, it sounds pretty much like a cult. It sounds more like a mob, honestly. Mob mentality. But yeah, I mean, it did. It sounded like these are the roles you're supposed to play. And if you step out of line, then, people get angry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's implied that Philippa works there, since when they get there, Colborn asks her, like, how are things going, kind of vaguely, and she's like, well, we're trying to figure out what we're going to have the students perform this coming year, and it kind of gives you the idea that she's possibly working in the theater department, maybe like Frederick or Gwendolyn.
Yeah. I don't know, though. If I had a student who went to jail for I'm assuming murder, because we don't know what he was charged with. I don't know if that student would be allowed back. Like, not even on the grounds.
Okay. In art school, they absolutely would.
Yeah.
Theater, that would be like invited back.
That's so funny.
So I have a couple of kind of questions or things, because I feel like somehow Philippa is a much more important part of the story than we realize right now. And I don't know if you can answer this. I don't know if your face usually gives it away or not, but you already know. Does Philippa know Colborn in some sort of way? Because they seemed really comfortable, whether that is from before or that maybe she has been the one pushing to get him to get the story from Oliver, that she wants the real story out there.
She said, my thing is, she said, I'm as innocent, or Oliver, one of them said, I'm as innocent as you are. And so they both know that they're innocent. And if she knew that he was innocent, why didn't she say her part if she wanted the story out there?
I mean, I'm assuming there were some sort of other circumstances that led to that. But there was a statement that Oliver makes about people always forget about Philippa, and later they always wish they hadn't.
Yeah.
And that was his statement, I think, to Colburn. And I thought that was really telling. And I feel like that there's something there about Philippa, that she's going to be a much bigger part of the story.
I mean, I think as far as does she know Colborn, I think the reason she feels so familiar with him is because she's been visiting Oliver every 2 weeks. And she's talked to Colborn plenty of times over those 10 years. I don't think it gives anything away to say she's not, like, close with him.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt that Colburn, if he's visiting Oliver, that he also visits the others.
Yeah. Yeah.
What, just in their daily lives? I can't imagine him going to New York or something.
Well, he wanted to know the story.
Just I'm here, just wanted to check in, kind of.
Is anyone going to tell me what happened? Yeah. Kind of thing going on?
Well, sure, as the ones that get away with it I don't think would care to tell him.
Sometimes in a story, maybe not in real life, but in a story, when like people become overwhelmed by guilt, they will confess, and they're just really looking for an opportunity to kind of just come clean. So
yeah, it's really crazy that this is 10 years later. Like, you would think that by this point someone would have said something, but so he agrees he's going to tell Colborn the story. We go back into the flashback. It's 1997. We're back in school, and they are all starting to do their photo shoots to promote the play. They're all getting it dressed up. This year they're going to be in suits. Have you guys ever seen Caesar on stage before?
Mm-mm.
Nope.
So when I saw it, I think I saw it at Armstrong, and it was in suits. So maybe that's a common thing for people to do, to always perform it in like they look like well-dressed lawyers. Like
Damn.
the modern version is very much like that. But yeah, I think it's perfect that their photo shoots to promote it are all of them in like crazy like suit and tie, like really formal, and they're all talking to each other about what they're wearing. Alexander is like, why the fuck can't you tie a Windsor tie to Oliver? And he's like, what are you talking about? Fix it then.
Is it still crooked? My mom never taught me because I didn't ever have to wear suits because isn't he a scholarship kid?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Alexander, the rest of them have some money. Alexander, not as much as the rest, but Alexander's like, all right, come here. And he's like...
Any money Alexander's getting is being spent on drugs, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But this is the first time we kind of find out Alexander is gay. And it's because he's talking to James and saying, God, if Gwendolyn makes me do that fucking scene again, I don't know if I'm supposed to kiss you or kill you. Which is an interesting thing to say.
It's a reasonable response. I mean...
Yeah. He says, she makes the scene so real I look off stage and I can't decide if I want to kiss you or kill you. So they're all having their discussion. Philippa comes up. Poor Philippa is always in the middle of the boys and the girls, and she never has a real part. And
they put her in a pinstripe suit, which for me, I am picturing like really sleek,
yes,
super sexy suit.
Yes.
But then they were talking about how the girls looked better. The other girls looked better in their dresses and whatnot. And so I was like, I guess they didn't give her a suit for her figure. And she's supposed to be a man, right?
She's supposed to be very not curvy. Like, that's part of the reason she plays men's parts. And Oliver makes a comment about the fact that she doesn't look very good in the pinstripe suit, which is sad. I hate that she's kind of like the afterthought in everything. Like, not only is she getting the shittier parts, she's also literally not even... Like, they forget about her when they're calling everyone to take the pictures. Like, Gwendolyn tells Philippa to go get the other girls at some point, and she's like, right, because I'm not good for anything else. Like,
yeah.
There is a line, though, where Philippa's like, remember that time Oliver headbutted me while we were playing Midsummer? And he was like, in my defense, I tried to kiss you really nicely, but I couldn't see because Puck squirted his love juice in my eye.
Yeah.
I was like, ew.
That was great.
That was good. After listening to Alexander and when they were kind of going back and forth, and he blatantly wants Oliver to ask him about the gossip. And Oliver doesn't. And I was like, what is fucking wrong with you? Can we switch to Alexander's point of view? Because you suck as a book host.
Right?
I was like, Alexander has all the tea.
Right?
He has all the tea.
I know. Right?
And Oliver's like, no, I don't want it.
He's like, well, the girls tell me things. And I'm like, Oliver, you fucking idiot.
I mean, Oliver is he's like a piece of furniture that he's a fly on the wall. Like, he doesn't really participate in the story until the sex scene. But he
I
basically...
don't know about that.
He basically stands to the side and watches what happens. He's like, what's that guy from The Great Gatsby? He's a bystander who is talking about the rich people
Everything
having
happens
a party
from his eyes. So I feel like that's partially why. But also, I think that's partly the point. Like, Oliver sees himself as a nobody and continues to act like that. Like, there are moments when he could do things, but he goes back to thinking, why would I do that? Like, nobody cares about me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's partially the point. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy for that, but...
Well, towards the end, though, at the house, he really, I think, started kind of getting his voice and pushing back, especially against Richard.
Yes.
So I think he was kind of starting to find his way. Although, who was it that came up with that? I think it was Alexander that came up with the Meredith name.
I think so. I don't remember.
Trouble in
Meredith.
Paradise. Meredith Paradise.
Meredith.
Yeah.
I could definitely have more from Alexander's POV. That would be great.
Yeah, he's my favorite. He's so sassy. So in this scene, he kind of suggests to Oliver that he says, look over there, and like James is fiddling with Ren's hair while they're getting their photo shoot done. And Oliver is like, never noticed that before. And Alexander's like, where have you been? Do we think there's something going on there for real?
Like between James and Ren?
Yeah.
I certainly, I didn't pick that up in the first act, but the way that it's being presented here, I thought so.
Right. Presented. But I didn't feel, did you feel a chemistry between them?
I don't think there's enough interactions that we've seen to make a definitive conclusion.
To be fair, Oliver is never there to see it. Like, he didn't even know.
Well, that's really true.
You mentioned it last time that Ren had a British accent, and I think it's like scene 8 where I was like, oh, finally, I finally got to hear her speak. So, yeah, I can hear the British accent.
Yeah. There's not a lot from Ren, at least at this point in the book. She's the one that doesn't do anything.
I mean, she's almost never there. In part 1, Alexander was very kind of blending into the background for me.
Maybe I just noticed him because I was already looking out for him. I don't know. So the next scene 2, we flash to after their rehearsal. We know that at the rehearsal, Meredith and Richard were not getting along. And Meredith's the only one that's not pretending everything is fine. Everyone's pretending at this point that there's nothing happening. But Oliver knows that something's wrong. And so he kind of pushes at James and he's like, James, what is wrong? Like, talk to me. And James is like, fine, but like, you can't tell anyone because I don't want anyone to know.
This is while he's watching him get undressed also.
Intensely.
Just wanted to put that out there. Because I was like, this scene gave off, baby, is everything all right? Please let me hold you. And like, I can make it right. Let me make it better. I can kiss it and make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, quick question. When we first started talking about these books, was this the one that you were saying had some like fluidity, gender questions and like sexual orientation questions?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Since you asked. As a matter of fact. Yeah.
Good deal.
Since you brought it up.
I wrote it in the notes, but I was like, well, maybe Christy was onto something when she said that Oliver loved James, because I think that maybe he loves him. Yeah,
I didn't want to give it
I think that's when he was naked in the shower scene, and I was like,
mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't want to give it away wholeheartedly, but when Christy said that last episode, I was like, oh, if they don't know now, they'll know soon. But yeah, I want you to think about every scene that happens in this act and then compare the way Oliver treats James to how he treats Meredith. And yet, what's crazy to me is Oliver thinks he feels the same for them, right? He doesn't quite say that to himself. He'll say stuff like, oh, well, I'm very upset that James is hurt. And I'm also upset that Meredith's hurt. And it's a similar feeling. But then when he interacts with them, it's not the same.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, maybe he does have feelings for Meredith. I just don't think they're the same feelings.
Mm-mm.
You know? I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong. But this is the first time we see him maybe letting on that he cares, right? And James says, well, Richard's been fucking bruising the hell out of me during every rehearsal. And then he shows him all the marks on his arms, which is crazy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was okay, so not telling to not give Richard the satisfaction of, being not more powerful, I guess, of holding on is something that I would do. But at the same time, I wanted to be like, this is absolutely abuse. Like, it doesn't matter
It's messed up.
what Richard thinks that James did. This crosses a line, and
I
it
agree.
is ridiculous
Yeah.
that something hasn't been said. Somebody hasn't noticed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
who's doing makeup and wardrobe? Like,
Yeah.
somebody
No, I
hasn't
agree.
seen something?
Probably not to that extent because it sounds like it's on its body. But I don't understand why he didn't, like, when he went to stab Richard, why he didn't just fucking shove that through his balls or something. Like, okay, we can play this game.
Oops, I missed.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I
Yeah.
don't think the fake knife is supposed to hurt. So
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You thrust that into somebody fucking hard enough. I mean, it's still hurt.
I mean, to be fair, if you accidentally graze a guy's balls, they fall over like you just cut them off. So
It wouldn't take much, I'm sure.
just saying.
I mean, Oliver is pissed, guys. Like, furious. He's like,
I would be too.
suddenly, I wanted to give Richard 10 bruises for everyone he put on James, but I could never hope to hurt him. Not like that, and my own inefficacy made me angrier than anything else. So again, Oliver thinks that he's useless here, right? I do think it's interesting how upset he gets. He also tells...
Did he do it?
What?
Did he do it?
Do what?
Kill Richard.
Oh, what? We know he's innocent.
Do we?
So he says, we also discussed how unreliable narrator, maybe he's told himself that it was self-defense in James's defense.
And maybe he just lost his shit one day and he was like, this is for James.
Yeah, maybe.
Damn. Although, since at the end of this book end of this act where we left it off, I doubt that that's the case.
What if Richard didn't die?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that when we get there. So, anyways, he says something along something along the lines of, my head was heavy with confusion, fury, and some other fierce thing I couldn't identify.
It's called protectiveness, honey.
It's called love. Oliver.
Oh, I love.
It's called not admitting to yourself what's happening right now.
It's called touch her and die trope.
Although I will say, and I put this somewhere else, I think, but the names fucked me up because then with James and Oliver, it made me think of James and Oliver Phelps, who play the Weasley twins. And now
Oh my gosh. Ew.
I'm like, oh no.
Why? Oh, it's
You
terrible.
put that image in my head.
Sorry.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm not going to be the only one to see that.
But at the end of this scene, Oliver says, well, what are we going to do about it? And James is like, nothing yet. So moving forward, we have some reasons to hate Richard, right? God, there's so many reasons. So the next scene, everyone is on alert, it seems. Oliver thinks it's just him that's watching out for Richard, but really everybody is looking out. Alexander starts talking about how good Meredith looks in the robe that she's wearing. And James looks at him and is like, can you not? Like, he's literally like, for someone who's into men, you're saying a lot of shit about heterosexual relationships. And Alexander's like, well, I could be straight for Meredith.
And to be fair, all I said was she had good legs. That's just a compliment. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I think he was trying to give her a compliment and just point it out and maybe mess with Oliver a little bit. And I think James doesn't like it.
Yeah,
I think James did not like that.
I want to know what happened between James and Meredith, if there's more to that whole story, because they seem kind of weird together.
Antagonistic in a way.
Yeah.
But like sexually antagonistic.
Yeah. And
yeah, there's a point when James and Oliver are talking and he's like, you know how I feel about Meredith. Like, how do you feel?
Oliver I think in the last act, he was like, well, Meredith thinks that everybody should like her, so that's why she doesn't like James, and James just isn't attracted to her, so...
Yep.
But I feel like there's more to it.
Yeah. Who was it at the beginning that said, was it Oliver that basically said that Meredith and Richard were together like from the get-go? But yet in this part, it made it sound like that maybe she and James were kind of getting together and then she went to Richard.
Well, it sounded like she was hitting on James first and then went to Richard. But he wanted nothing to do with her. But I still think that there's more to the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what he says, is like, well, she came to me and tried to get with me and I was not interested. And then she moved on to Richard. That's what he says when they're jogging.
Yeah.
In scene 3, this is when the tension on the stage between Meredith and Richard kind of blows up. So they've already been fighting for a while. He fucking grabs her and slings her across the stage.
Yeah. And then has the gall to be like, I just was in the moment. Like, it didn't actually really mean anything. I didn't actually hurt her. She's fucking bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's like, obviously she's being dramatic, guys. Like, come on. I was like, she's fucking just audacity.
She's just a drama queen. And I don't care if Oliver's perception of Richard is off. No, there's nothing that justifies.
What do you mean?
Like, because we talked about how, in the last episode, we talked about how Oliver is a bit biased towards everybody. So, like, with James can do nothing wrong. Richard kind of is scary and aggressive.
I don't think he thinks that anymore.
What?
I said I don't think he thinks that anymore, especially after he learns that Richard is hurting James.
Well, no, James can do no wrong. You know how we were talking about he was an unreliable narrator?
He thought that James could do no wrong. Like, everything that he does is just so charming and so perfect.
Gotcha.
And Richard is scary and commanding and...
Right.
And so we see him with that, it's not a rose-colored lens on it, but we see that with that lens on it. And there's no way to see this another way.
No.
I can't even imagine.
Oh, I agree.
I think she's just talking about like what we were talking about last week.
Oh, I agree.
Like, there is no justification.
Yeah, we were trying to give maybe Richard a little bit of leeway because it may be that Oliver was an unreliable narrator and that he was,
I see,
infusing his own kind of thoughts. But yeah, no, I agree. There's no excuse.
He gives us motives and stuff that may not be true, but because it's all filtered from his perspective. But like I said, there's nothing that justifies what he did here. So
I agree.
It's just horrendous. And I was sitting there from last scene, I was like, okay, from the scene in which he tried to drown James, I was honestly like, I don't fucking care if he dies. In fact, I hope he dies. And
yeah,
I really wish all of them would have gotten away with it because if Oliver went to jail because of Richard, I'm gonna be pissed because ugh, like no, sorry, you don't deserve that.
Yeah,
no, he doesn't. And one aspect that I was kind of curious about, and maybe I was reading too much into it, but when Meredith gets up and she starts yelling at him and for what he did, he says something to the effect that it was him asking her about making a scene now and that I wouldn't. And it sounded like there was something else going on that we maybe haven't heard about yet.
Well, when Oliver and Meredith have sex for the first time and he wakes up the next morning, he says her entire body is like covered in bruises. And so, yeah, I think that he's been hurting her
in many ways up to this point.
Hurting her in...
Okay, I thought maybe he found out something about her that he was holding over her head.
It's not clear here. I think you could take it multiple ways. You could take it after what happens in this section. You could argue that Richard is jealous of Oliver. And you could say that Richard sees that Meredith has an interest in Oliver and something is going on behind the scenes that has indicated that. But we don't really know if that's what he means. I think you could also say that he's trying to say, well, we could have let the scene play out. Now you're going to make a scene? Which, if you notice, sometimes they do that. Like, if there's something happening on stage that is taking it too far, sometimes they just go with it. Which brings me to a point I wanted to make, actually, which is, why does Gwendolyn tell them to stop after Meredith says, what the fuck just happened? She doesn't stop when Meredith is thrown across the room. She waits for Meredith to say, what the fuck? Because Gwendolyn would have let that play out. If they had kept going, she would have let that go. Mm-hmm. She would have used it for inspiration or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? They let him get away with everything.
Yeah, and it's a lawsuit waiting to happen, to be fair, if this was not a fictional world.
Yeah.
But,
well, it may be fictional, but honestly, that way of working is completely legit. And it is how a lot of times it does work. So that, I mean, it's a really realistic portrayal, honestly.
Yeah.
It does set up of course this ended in murder. Of course it did. You've got one guy bullying 6 others and terrorizing them.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Of course they're going to fight back. Of course they're going to defend themselves.
And then he says, do I have to apologize to everyone now? Like,
yes.
Really? Philippa, the queen that she is, calls him out on his bullshit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to read that, or you guys want me to read it?
You can read it.
I can. I'll do it. Why would you? You've only interrupted our run, fucked up Gwendolyn's blocking, forced Milo to break up a fight, possibly ruined a costume, maybe damaged a set, and injured one of our friends. Not for the first time either. Now Oliver might have to learn all of your lines and play your part and save the show when you inevitably fuck up again. And you have the balls to blame it on Meredith being a drama queen?
Yep.
Thank you, girl. I was like, yes, go.
Philippa.
Tell him.
I think this is the moment where we're all like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. And your stupid bullshit, Richard. Dick. Okay?
Yes.
Now, I did think at the end of this scene, so it all plays out and they're all like, fuck you, Richard. And everyone agrees. Everyone sees it. And then it's just him, Oliver, James, and Richard standing there. And there's this great line that Oliver says, only the 3 of us left. James, Richard, me. Gunpowder, fire, fuse. I thought that was fantastic. And that, I feel like it ends up being that so often, is it's the 3 of them about to light this crazy bomb. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is a really good metaphor.
I thought it was great. And I think that, once again, we're brought back to the end at this scene with him saying, he's standing there thinking, I was quiet. In my own estimation, pointless. A fuse with no fire and nothing to ignite. So again, he seems to think he's useless if the other 2 or any of the others are there with him. And I don't know why he thinks that, but Oliver, you're a fucking lost cause.
We all have our insecurities.
I do want to note that in this scene, when Philippa is calling out Richard, she calls Camilo Milo or Milo.
Mm-hmm.
Like she knows him.
Yeah.
And it made me think, are they already seeing each other?
I think she's got her own other life that is not intertwined with that group. That's why she seems to be the most sane one.
Probably so. All right. So, moving on to scene 4, Oliver is the last out of the rehearsal. He kind of stays back. He wants to avoid Richard. And he's the last one in the dressing room getting dressed before they leave. This is the scene when Meredith ambushes him. So this is the second time. The first time in Act 1, Meredith is kind of touchy-feely. Nothing really happens. But Meredith comes in here and is more clear with him that she's interested.
Yeah, this was, I felt like he had a good point, yeah, okay, I might like you, but I'm not willing to get my ass beat over it. But the way he said that was,
it was pretty scathing.
Yeah.
It was, but I I felt like it was valid in the respect that she certainly wasn't worried about his safety and she wasn't worried about putting him in the line of fire. It'd be different if she loved him.
Yeah.
Right.
And that she truly wanted something with him, but just as a distraction, she was willing to put him in the line of fire to get it. And I thought that was shitty.
Yeah, it was. It very much was. And especially with, nobody, she was like, oh, I won't hurt you. And he made it clear that, this isn't something that he wanted to get involved with and get emotionally hurt as well. Because,
right.
And she just wanted a good time. Mm-hmm. He kind of implied that he wanted more than that. And
yes.
Then on top of that, she has a boyfriend. They are not officially broken up yet. And he had every right to be like, I'm sorry, but, I can't do this because you're in a relationship and your boyfriend will kill me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's bigger than me.
Yeah, I think he was right to turn her down. I do think, however, the way he talks to her here is kind of
gross.
Sad. Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of, to me, illuminates how he feels both about her and himself. He says something along the lines of, like, why are you coming after me? Because James won't touch you and Alexander is gay? Like,
yeah,
you don't actually like me.
He sees himself as, like, the only other option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is rude to her because he just assumes that that's how she is, I guess. Like, she's just promiscuous and she's going to do it if there's any men around. Like, what are you saying about her, And then two, it obviously says to himself he's not the first choice. I think Meredith is a complicated character for me because she does things that on the surface look like a terrible decision, but also kind of like underlie maybe some insecurities or like, things that she's not telling other people, kind of like what she had to discuss in Gwendolyn's class.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is something that I recently had a discussion with my parents about, was how growing up, I was very much told that the only worth that I had was on my ability to get a man. So your looks play into that. And I feel like to some degree, Meredith is very much like that. And she, as she said, her looks are what she uses to get by, and they're the thing that she feels gives her value.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, too, the one thing that he misses in this whole aspect of it is, yes, it's shitty that she puts him in that position and that she's okay with him being in the line of fire. But if you look at it from a little bit different point of view, as far as, I don't think she would choose just anybody. I think because Oliver, there's still a level of comfortability with him, that's why. So yeah, I mean, of the friends, he's probably like the last choice, but it wouldn't be just anybody off the street. I think there's a love, like he's comfortable with her, and that's why that he ends up as a choice, an option.
Yeah.
If she were willing to just do that with anybody, there are plenty of first, second, and third years to go through.
Yeah.
It's true.
And a lot of them won't even be here next year to have baggage around.
Right.
So
I think that's true, because once we see them again later coming together, he goes to check on her, but she immediately latches on to him. I think it's because she thinks he's a comforting presence in some way.
Yeah.
Now, my favorite scene in this entire section is when James drags Oliver out of bed to go for a run. Do you know why it's my favorite scene?
Why?
Because they're essentially just tiptoeing around each other. Like, why aren't they just talking about their feelings? Why aren't they just talking about it? Basically, James is like, so where were you last night? And Oliver's like, oh, I hung back because I didn't want to see Richard. And James is like, did Meredith ambush you? And it's like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from?
I did. I was like, how did he know she was going to do that?
Right. And also...
And then James was like, I see how she looks at you.
Literally, he said, I saw how she was looking at you. And Oliver's like, what do you mean? And he's like, she's a shark and you're an oblivious fur seal.
That was like, hilarious.
He was like, why do people keep calling me that? And he was like, oh, who else is calling you a fur seal?
It's funny because
it was a good scene. Yeah.
Him saying, why does everyone call me oblivious? Is him being oblivious. Just the entire conversation. Like,
you're oblivious about being oblivious.
Yes. Like, he cannot see that. I mean, I want you guys to think about this. 2 straight men are not having this conversation.
No.
That's all I gotta say. Like, I asked Johan about this. I said, babe, come over here. I said, in any way, shape, or form, are you asking a guy friend of yours, your close friend, a good friend, someone that you might even consider a best friend, are you asking them if they're dating someone or seeing someone if you have no stake in that? Like, unless you cared about the girl or unless you needed to know for some other reason, are you talking about that? And he's like, no, I wouldn't even bring it up. I wouldn't care. Why would I care? And I was like, this is what I mean. Because, like, normal straight men typically don't ask about the other man's lives.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Not in that way.
They just vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they wait. It's like it's on him, the other person, to tell me if he wants to, but it doesn't really matter to me. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, if we changed this scene and one of them was a girl, would it make more sense then? Because
it would be a 90s rom-com at that point.
Yes, be like, hey, where were you last night? Why do you need to know?
Yeah.
Like, well, you know, was Meredith there? It's like, well, maybe she was.
I'm not jealous at all.
Yeah.
I don't want to know, like, did you sleep with her?
Yeah,
really?
He's like, why? What did you say to her? And Oliver's like, well, I told her I didn't want to get in trouble with Richard. And James goes, is that the only reason?
Yeah.
He's giving him every opportunity. He's literally like, so what else did you say? Like, I just love this scene because it's so fucking obvious. And again, this is when he says, well, you know how I feel about Meredith. And he tells them in this act, or in this scene, that he had originally been approached by Meredith. Why does part of me feel like that's a lie? I don't know. Maybe it's true, but I think he's bringing it up to, like, tell Oliver, like, she doesn't really care about you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wonder, though, is James gay and he's kind of in the closet?
Unclear.
They don't really talk about his sexuality at all. He doesn't seem interested. He doesn't talk about girls. So.
Yep.
And it's weird because between James and Oliver, I feel like Oliver truly loves James. I don't ever get that feeling from James to Oliver. It almost feels like he likes having somebody that follows him around and loves him and is loyal to him. But I don't.
But is that Oliver's perspective? Because I feel like the reason we don't.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like the reason we don't know James's sexuality or think about it often is because Oliver is fucking oblivious.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by, like, this scene feels so obvious to me. I don't know.
Because you're getting the verbiage from James without the assumption of what it means. Okay. Yeah, that is true.
I could be misreading this. This is only the second time I've read this book. So in all fairness, but why the fuck else would this scene be here?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Like, they do.
It's a whole scene.
They do, like, say something at the end.
Mm-hmm. At the end, Oliver goes, so is there anything you want to tell me while we're on the topic?
Yeah.
And James is like, no.
I'm good. Mm. But it felt like they do talk about, like, they think that Richard is going to be more calculating come opening night about his abuse. But then it feels like they made some kind of bargain. But this is also why I hate Shakespeare, because I was like, I don't understand what went down there. So.
Okay, basically at the end, they see Richard's publicity poster. Yeah. They see a bunch of people, like, gathered around it, and they're, like, both pondering over the fact how Richard looks scary in the poster, and they're like, oh God.
Yeah, I don't want Richard staring at me for the next however long.
Yeah. And they're talking about how Oliver says, do you think that he's going to let up now that he's gotten a little bit in trouble and people know? And James says something along the lines of like, no, I think he's going to let up for the next few rehearsals. And then on opening night, he's going to go right back to it, which he was right.
Because she's not going to stop the play then.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's when James goes, he doesn't, he says it in, verse or whatever, but he's like, well, we're going to deal with it when we get there. And Oliver says something like, hold my hand and I will be there and we're going to face it together. I'm paraphrasing strongly, but
so that's what I put. I was like, they made a bargain to walk together in this, I guess. And then I was like, this is why I hate Shakespeare.
Yeah, because James is like, in that a bargain we've struck or something like that. But it's really both of them going, like, we're going to do this together. It's going to be fine. And I love that at the end, Oliver is like, my mouth was dry. And I'm like, oh, really? Oh, really? Like, what? Oh, man. I just can't get over the fact that Oliver is so fucking confused about him and doesn't realize it. So we have opening night in scene 6.
Which we don't get really much of the play here.
Right.
We just got like, oh, Richard hit Oliver in the ear so bad he doesn't have balance, essentially.
Yeah.
And can't walk in a straight line. And he also hurt Alexander and James too. And like,
Yeah, this is kind of like, I think it's like a slow lead up to what's about to happen. Because this is how Alexander finds out what's going on. Originally, it was just James and Oliver talking about it. And Oliver had agreed not to tell anyone. And when he's standing there, because Richard's fucking knocked the shit out of him, he says something like, well, he's been hurting James too. And Alexander's like, what? Because they're all commiserating in that moment. And they kind of agree amongst themselves that if he does it again, they're going to do something about it. It's this moment of, well, he can't fight all of us.
Yeah. He might be able to take each of us on, but not all of us.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think that they knew what was going on with him and Meredith to the full extent? Because later on, when she's having sex with Oliver, he seems surprised at the amount of bruises on her body. So do you think that they understood that he was that abusive to her?
Nope.
There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. I mean, I don't think that any of the other characters would have put up with that. I mean, I can't imagine any of them knowing that and then just, letting
keeping
it happen.
It to themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. It would be a big deal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, unless, to be fair, if it were the situation of like Meredith told Ren or Philippa and said, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because the way that James told Oliver to keep it to himself.
I honestly think if that had happened, one of them would have ended up going to one of the other boys. I really do think that. I think.
Even Ren?
Yeah.
I feel like she would.
She's not happy. She's not happy with her cousin.
I know that, but she's a hanger-oner too. And I think that unless she felt like it was in her best interest or they were going to push Richard out, I think she would have kept it a secret if she could.
I don't know. I think she would have told somebody. I think she would have told Oliver or James or maybe Alexander. I mean, she talks to Alexander from what we've seen, tells him things. So I can't see Ren not telling someone if she knew, even though they're related.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. I mean, even she points out that he is being an ass.
Yeah.
And she's not happy with him either.
Yeah. She definitely has moments where she's not happy with him, but there's something, I don't know, there's something about her that just seems like either she knows more or she needs him. Like he's the key for her to be able to do acting. I don't know. It's like some kind of weird.
I think she feels
like she can be successful through him.
Interesting. I don't think I thought of it that way. I think maybe she feels like she has to stick up for him maybe a little bit because it's her cousin, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much we get into family dynamics here, but his parents are fairly powerful, it sounds like. And I don't know for hers.
They're big names.
Yeah, and I don't know for hers if they are.
I don't know. It's not really said. It seemed to be implied that both of them have big acting parents. Like, so it might be that her parents are a big deal too. We just don't know.
Yeah.
We don't get that information.
Okay.
But the next night, so second night of the play, this is the night.
I was a bit confused because I thought this was like, they talked about this after party that they were supposed to have, and I thought that this was the after party, and I was like, why are they doing the play during the party? But I mean, I figured it out eventually, but it was just confusion the way it was given.
I think it's brought up in the beginning of that scene so that whenever it immediately transitions into the party, I hope that you're supposed to understand, I think. But this is the second night of the play, and Richard again kind of lashes out, and fucking Alexander has made Oliver smoke a blunt ahead of the time because Oliver's so nervous about how it's going to go down. He was like jittery all day, and he's like, here, everything's going to be fine. And Oliver's like, no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this whole scene that happens on stage in front of the audience,
everybody.
Literally, Richard tries to choke Oliver out. He said he was near passing out.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just turns into this big brawl in which Philippa gets hurt and other people, innocent bystanders, are getting hurt. And after it's done, like the second years or third year, whoever it was, didn't even know what to do. They were so freaked out and stunned that they didn't say their line.
Yeah.
Somebody had to say it for them.
Alexander, I think.
Yeah, Alexander. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought it was shitty that they didn't at least let Philippa know what was going to happen so that she could be prepared.
Fair. If Philippa was going to be on the stage at that time, they definitely should have fucking told her. But I wonder if Philippa would have been like, no, I don't know. I don't know what Philippa would have said, actually.
No, I'm pretty sure she would have thrown a punch or two.
Probably would have. I could see her being like, all right.
I don't know if this was planned. I know they said that they were going to beat him up if he did it again, but I was thinking that would be off stage. And this just was a reaction because Richard almost choked Oliver to death.
No, I thought this was planned.
I think it was semi-planned.
That they meant to, they meant to do it on stage.
I think the idea was if Richard does this again while everyone's on stage, we're going to fucking do something. And they didn't care if it was on stage or off stage, right? And that's what happened. I mean, they knew that that's what was... They all acted at the same time. Even though Oliver gets, like, choked out, Alexander grabs Richard by the hair and is, like, holding him. So it's clearly, like, they're all sort of communicating. What I do think...
I mean, if I would have seen that, I would have probably reacted the same way of going in to defend my friend.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's like they knew they were going to have to do something. They just didn't know if it was going to be on stage. And I think it's crazy the way he just fucking grabs his neck and starts choking him in front of the whole entire theater, right? Like, they didn't know that.
If your thumb is going to my carotid artery, you got to know where that shit is, and that is not an accident.
No.
Yeah, he was crazy. But after that, once they finish that, what's even crazier is they just let him. He runs away, but then, like, nobody, like, goes after him or anything. Nobody really confronts him about it until they're forced to confront him about it. Everybody has the party and goes to the party, but it's kind of like business as usual until Richard comes down himself.
After the play, they were like, well, maybe that taught him a lesson or something like that.
Exactly. That's what Alexander says, not realize. I feel like Alexander doesn't realize the severity of what's happening, or maybe he thinks, oh, that was good enough. And is like,
or maybe he's just that high.
Yeah, he is always high.
That's cool.
I mean,
he tells them, he's like, y'all better be partying hard tonight.
We're all mellow, right? It's all good.
And they're
it's
like,
all good.
The last thing they want to do right now is party, I think. But they all get high together. Like Alexander and Philippa. Well, Philippa's not there until later, but Alexander passes out the blunts. Like James, Oliver, Philippa, they all participate, not Meredith. Not sure why, but Meredith's not there. And Meredith actually sets up the garden party, the part of the party that's in the garden, and Ren sets up like the kitchen and the inside and whatever. So I guess that maybe because they're just not there. But
So I saw online somebody saying that they thought that Richard was only acting like this because everyone was kind of turning on him and that he felt isolated and
what?
like everybody,
No.
yeah, like everybody was
What?
against him. And
Did you read the same book?
yeah, I was like, they were like, no matter what Richard did, it was always going to be seen as bad. And I was like, okay, look, I have been Richard, not in the abuse part, but like I have been the person in which a group of people were like, everything she's doing is wrong and criticized everything to the point where coughing. I got criticized for the way I was coughing. And
Some people are ridiculous.
yeah. And so even then, it did make me angry. It made me feel isolated and it made me feel like all kinds of things. Not once did I ever lay a finger on any of those people.
Because
Not
that's
once.
fucking batshit.
Yeah. And
Well-
so I don't care what they did to him. It's not okay. It is never okay. And I was just, when I read that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no.
All of this started because Richard was fucking throwing a tantrum over not getting a specific part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he tried to drown James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have any further context for why that would happen. Therefore, it must be that.
We don't need further context.
And
No.
And even this, he doesn't come to the party, but he watches it from his room
Yeah.
and puts somebody in the infirmary for talking to someone he's not even dating anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was watching Meredith talk to someone and comes down and punches that guy's fucking living daylights out. And now we're going to say, oh, well, anything that he does would be perceived as bad. He's really just a victim here. No, it's a fucking lie.
That's it. The whole thing.
You know what? We will take all the victims like that. We will send them your way and you can fucking deal with them. And we will take all the other people that actually know how to treat others.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
The whole thing was very victim blamey. And I was just like, okay, you're making me mad. Like,
Yeah. Let me know your address and we'll drop these people off.
That's crazy to me. I don't understand that at all.
I was like, that's a crazy take. Crazy take.
There's some characters in here I could see you sympathizing with who don't need the sympathy. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Richard, no.
Yeah, no. I still hope he dies.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Although, okay, one part that really fucking cracked me up though is when Oliver goes outside and the flirtatious girl from before approaches and he like does a 180 and he's like, nope. And
He
like,
books it.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
One of my favorite things is, you know how Oliver is like outside and he's talking to Ren and then he's talking to Meredith. Meredith goes inside. And then James comes out and James is like, Oliver's like, where have you been? And James is like, well, I kind of went upstairs to like read. And then I was just kind of avoiding everybody.
Yeah,
But
that's what I would
Alexander would be so disappointed if I didn't participate. And I'm thinking to myself, so you avoided everyone, but when you came back downstairs, the first person you found was Oliver. And then
in the garden with the twinkle lights.
and then the twinkle lights turn off because some shit is happening inside. That's when all the lights go out. And they're looking at the stars together. They're literally gazing at the stars. They ignore what's happening behind them for like 5 minutes. One of them goes like, what was that? And he's like, it's probably nothing. And Oliver thinks to himself, The world was perfectly still for one precious instant.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's like my heart stopped. Just for a minute.
And I'm just sitting here typing, gay, gay, gay. They're looking at the moon together. There's nothing gayer than that. Okay. Anyway, I had to let that out. Okay. Yes. Gaze at the stars.
Gaze at the stars.
Gaze at the stars. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I love love.
Oh, man.
So they hear the crash. They hear that crash, and then the lights go out. And they're finally like, I guess we gotta go fucking check out what that is. Because they're like, it's probably Richard. And
it's probably Richard.
It's Richard. Yeah. Like we said, punching some poor cellist. And Ren and Meredith are yelling at him. And he has the fucking audacity to turn around and call Philippa a bitch. Because Philippa's like, stop what you're doing. He also calls Meredith a slut. And says that, of course she wants the attention. Because she's a slut and all she cares about is that people look at her. And he also points at Oliver and he's like, I'm going to send you to the infirmary in pieces.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but that's a threat on my life.
Yeah. Yeah. That, Richard has absolutely fucking lost it. And this whole fight, this very public fight, and Meredith saying, you're only going after him because you want to hit me. And you can't do it in front of all these people. And
yep.
Oof.
She's like, do it. Do it. I fucking dare you. And then he won't do it. He calls her a slut. And then she smacks him dead in the face.
Yeah.
Which, good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. I was like, I hope he dies. I hope it's painful. And I hope he suffers.
Right. And the fact that, I mean, when you really think about it, even after all she's been through and getting beaten by Richard, she still is willing to stand there in front of everybody so that his attention is on her and not anyone else to save them.
Yeah. She took that attention from Oliver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do want to say this is one of my favorite scenes, partly because I feel like I can really see this one in my head. Like, have you guys ever witnessed a fight?
I've been in fights.
That does not surprise me.
But
so I would say I have also been in a fight, like in the way that I've been in this scene. You know what I mean?
Same.
I think I just can see it so clearly in my mind, the way that, Meredith's in his face and she slaps him and, like Oliver picks up Meredith and like hauls her to the side and James is behind Richard, like, what the fuck is going on? Alexander is in the corner, fucking blazed out of his mind, can barely stand up. I just, in my mind, I was like, yeah, I can see all of these characters, like they're realistic.
Yeah, I guess identified with that part of it because I've never seen a fight that got to a point where there were punches thrown, because the few that I have seen start up, I would always interject and get in the middle of, because it really bothered me. Because, and some of it stupidly, because you assume because you're a girl, they're not going to throw the punch, which doesn't always happen. But that's why he felt a little more comfortable doing it. But the thought of anybody, because you figure in most fights, there's at least one party that is scared and doesn't want to be there. And that always just fucking broke my soul. And so I would always want to step in and try to stop it so that that person knows that they're not alone.
You and me, girl, Hufflepuffs to the end. Well, what happens is Meredith runs off and Oliver follows her. And she kisses him on the stairwell. And a first year walks up and is like, oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
I had a rant about that little fucking first year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
They should have killed him.
Yeah, like, okay. Yeah. You just witnessed a fight where this guy got hit because he talked to the girl. And now you witness, and there was threats going on. And now you're going to witness them kissing and run into the other room and announce it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, are you trying to get Oliver killed?
Yep.
Are you fucking
Yikes.
trying to
Yep.
get him killed? Use some common sense. I know, like, you got a brain, right?
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
Yep.
This is supposed to be an elite school. I'm just saying.
It's a mess. It is a mess. But they end up in Meredith's bedroom and they're all over each other. And Richard comes up to the top and is banging on the door, like, open this fucking door.
I'm gonna
Open this
fucking kill
door.
you.
I'm gonna fucking kill you. Yeah. Yep. And Oliver's scared in that moment. And Meredith's like, ignore him. I'm right here.
I would say he's probably scared for like 2 seconds, and then he's like, well, I'm so into her that I just drown him out.
Yep. Yep.
I'm surprised, though, that he didn't like knock that door down with the way that he's described.
Yeah.
Same.
And how drunk he was.
Yep.
Mm,
I
yeah.
was thinking he would. I'm surprised he doesn't. And I think the only reason he can't is because he's drunk. It's probably that. And Philippa and Alexander pull him off, supposedly. Although I'm like, how? How?
Yeah, but at that point, I was like, Richard, like, I know I've said it before, but I was like, Richard needs to die. It's
Yeah.
not murder. It's
Yeah.
just self-defense.
Yeah.
Self-defense.
It doesn't matter if he attacks them or not. Just kill him and get it over with.
It's definitely at this point, it's scary to be around him.
Yeah.
You know, like none of them feel comfortable. None of them feel like he's not going to hurt them.
Yeah.
Now, Oliver wakes up in Meredith's bed and he's like, man, what is happening? I need a drink of water. He walks downstairs. He notices that all the lights and the music are off. Alexander is somewhere. He's not in his room. He also notices that,
The bathroom light is on.
yeah. So he walks into the bathroom to get himself a drink of water and walks right in on naked James.
Who's on the floor. And I was like, what the fuck is he doing on the floor naked? And like, is he hiding in there? And then he says he's sick. And I was like, oh, is he hungover sick or I just killed somebody sick?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's throwing up.
I didn't catch that. That's good.
Yeah.
Damn.
So we don't know what's going on because James is looking a little suspicious, right? Like,
Yeah.
why are you showering right now? Is it just because you're throwing up?
Damn it. I didn't question that at all. What kind of like clue aficionado am I?
You're also somebody who wakes up at 4 a.m. on a regular basis. This is normal for you.
Well, but no, I'm talking about the fact that he's taking a shower. He's sick to that extent. I should have been like, what else was he doing? But no, I took it at face value. Poor guy. He's doesn't like to have throw up on him. And he's, yeah. Oh my God. I'm so embarrassed.
James asks Oliver if he came from Meredith's room. And Oliver's like, does everybody know? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah. The first year announced it, dude.
Mm-hmm. So Oliver
Ugh.
is still standing there and James continues his shower. He's like, do you mind if I get back in the shower?
It's
And
like-
he's like, yeah, go ahead.
They're having a conversation while James is naked. And also, Oliver's like, yeah, I've seen him naked before, but this seems a little different. I'm not going to. He's like, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to look.
He's like, get in there and get wet.
I'm blushing.
And Oliver gets upset whenever James insinuates that Meredith is just a one-night stand. He's like, are you going to go back there? And he's like, yes. And he's like, oh, it's not just a one-night stand? And then there's a line where James is in the shower and Oliver's looking at his face and there's like water running down his face. And it says something like, it looked like tears.
Tears. And yeah, that also, I was like, he probably just killed Richard. And he's like, yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
Even if you hate somebody, the taking of a life can be very traumatic. So
So you guys don't think he was just drunk, like he said?
I don't think so.
Now I don't. Damn.
Especially since in the next scene you literally have the finding of Richard in the lake or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
he's beaten to a pulp, or at least that's the way I read it.
Yeah.
His head is like smashed in.
Yeah.
I was like, he probably beat the shit out of him and then thought he was dead and didn't mean to kill him, and then he went and took a shower to get all the blood off of him, and then, threw up because he thinks he killed somebody, and he's sitting there in the shower having to pretend like everything's normal, and he's crying.
Maybe. Maybe so.
Damn.
Now, Alexander is gone, and Philippa is not there. Meredith was next to Oliver, and Oliver was in Meredith's room. Who is at leave?
Ren. We have no idea where she was.
Yeah.
Helping.
So, we don't know. We don't know anything yet. They wake up. Philippa wakes them up and is like, guys, you got to come down here. And they walk down to the lake, and Richard is floating in the lake, head half bashed in, and then he moves.
Yeah, it said his neck was like twisted at a weird angle. I thought he had his neck snapped at first, and I was like, what? And then he makes a noise, and I was like, holy shit, he's alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically he's still alive, and he could have not died.
Yeah, he's still alive right now.
Of course, what would that leave him like?
I just had a thought.
I'm pretty sure somebody gets murdered in this book.
I gotta look at that last line. Richard stretched one hand feebly toward us, and the whole world lurched. Wren stifled a scream, and James grabbed my arm. Oh God, he choked on the word. He's still alive. Interesting.
I was pretty sure that whatever was going to happen would be between James and Richard. So that's my theory.
Right. I remember you saying that in the first episode.
I mean, I know we talked about that too, in the sense we felt like Oliver would do anything for James, including taking the fall.
Yeah.
But does that mean that James would actually love him if he let him take the fall?
Right now, it's a mess. It's like, obviously, everyone has somewhat of a motive, but who would actually do it is the question.
Yeah.
This is so good. See, I need a storm while I read, the next part of it.
What are you guys thinking right now? Who do we think it is? Do we think that multiple people were there? Do we think that, we assume Richard is going to die, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty messed up.
I don't know.
I'm going to take the long shot and say he doesn't die. And that's why he only got 10 years instead of life in prison, was because it was assault.
But if he was alive, then wouldn't he be able to be like, this is the person that did it?
Not if he can't talk or there was some sort of brain damage.
Yeah, he got his head hit pretty hard.
Yeah, his whole face was smashed in. That was pretty, because I remember when he started to walk up, and I thought, oh, he drowned. Well, they could just say he drowned, and then they were like, and he was
drunk and he drowned.
His head is at an angle, and I was like, oh, there goes that. And they're like, and his face was smashed in. And I was like, wow, that really does go. It's not an accident.
Yeah.
It says,
yeah. If only he drowned.
This is the scene. It says, tiny ripples murmured around a grotesque, pale shape, partly submerged where the water should have been glassy and smooth. Richard floated on his back, neck twisted unnaturally, mouth gaping, face frozen in a Greek mask of agony. Blood crawled dark and sticky across his face from the crush of tissue and bone that used to be an eye socket, a cheekbone, now cracked and broken open like an eggshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there could definitely be some damage to where he could not identify his attacker or attackers. I definitely think you are correct. I think James is definitely the major one, but I'd have to, I don't know. I don't know if I think there's others.
What do we think is going to happen in the next act?
Well, either they have to cover it up or they call somebody and try to save Richard. And for me, I'm going to say he dies because I want him to.
Right.
But, and then I assume that there will be, this is where we'll get the introduction of the detective and the investigation will start.
Yeah, Colborne will come in at some point. Christy, what about you?
Yeah, I think pretty much for that. Yeah, I don't know if they will end up trying to cover it up. I'm assuming they will try to get him help if he's still alive. And this is where we'll start seeing that story take shape of how Oliver ended up being pegged for it and everybody else got off.
Do you think, so all of them right now are standing at the dock and they see him. Do you think they're going to call for help? What if they just leave him there? They could say, he fucking fell or tripped or something.
It's a long fall. Well, I guess he's tall, but
Yeah, the long fall.
They could.
They could, though Oliver seems to think that he and Philippa are innocent, and letting him die would not make them innocent.
True.
That's true.
True.
Although she does say I was there too. So.
True. You guys originally said that you thought it was going to be like a group thing.
Yeah. I was
maybe Christy said that.
I think I went into this book thinking it was going to be mob mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
That they all attack him and then cover it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if maybe everybody else leaves but Philippa and Oliver, and they're the ones that call for help. And I don't know. That wouldn't be a very satisfying one, but.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about before we end it here? I like Oliver and Philippa's relationship. I think they're funny together.
Yeah. I like Philippa, just overall.
I love when...
I like Pip.
Yes. Pip is the cutest nickname ever. I love when they're about to go on and she smacks him in the forehead and she's like, "Are you high?" And he's like, "No." And she's like, "Are you full of shit?" And he's like, "Yes." All right. Well, I guess we'll see what happens next act. And I feel like this was quite a somber episode. Hopefully we'll have more to laugh about next week, but pretty serious book, I guess.
Yeah. The abuse was pretty center stage.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally.
So I guess we'll end it there. We hope you'll join us for next week's episode. We'll be discussing If We Were Villains Act 3. New episodes drop each week, and don't forget to check out last season's discussion on the bride duology, available now.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. You can also support us by joining us on Patreon. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Raiders podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.